Yeah, so anyways, I just reviewed my recovery rant video, and it really is a rant. Like, I'm like, yeah. And so this is probably one reason why it's better that I don't talk about recovery, because I'm misrepresenting recovery, you know. I want people to do the steps. I'm like, dude, just fucking do them. Just do them. What good is it? What harm is it gonna do to just do them? You know, then you'll know. You know, so I get really frustrated. I'm like, just do the fucking steps, right? And so that's why anonymity, because you'll have people like promoting. They'll be like, do the steps, you know. And so that's why there's like anonymity and all this stuff, and that's why there are all these traditions in place, like like for example, I mean I could recite them verbatim. Okay, the traditions are wait, I have to remember the first one first. The 12. Well, I can recite the preamble. It's like well, I used to be able to. Fuck. I'm kind of, my mind's kind of cluttered right now because I'm catching myself. I'm putting myself on the spot. But well, like tradition 3 is the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. Each group should be autonomous in matters affecting other AA groups as a whole. You know, our primary purpose is to carry the message to the alcoholic who's still suffering. But it's the one where it says we're not affiliated with any, you know, so it's not affiliated with religion or any of this stuff. And promotion, I can't remember which one is promotion, but it's like we don't promote. It is never promoted. That's why you never see billboards promoting it or commercials on TV or commercials anywhere, because the whole tradition is don't do that. And the reason they don't want it to be promoted and all this is because they don't want what happened to YouTube to happen to the 12 steps. Like, remember, YouTube was this great place. It had all this truth. It was the truther thing. That's where all the truthers and stuff. Well, then in 2015 and 2016, YouTube aborted itself with promotion. It was all about, here, why don't you promote your channel using these ads? And that's what they call the adpocalypse. And here, start monetizing everything. So like when they first, the growing pains of the 12 steps, okay, that's what they were going to do. They were going to make a big giant facility, and it was going to have 3 or 4 levels. And on the first floor, and then they'll be selling stuff, and they'll have a restaurant and turn it into this, like, where we're selling stuff and we're promoting all this stuff, and it's this big hyped up thing, and it'll bring all these people, and then they'll want to do this. And they had to realize that they can't do that, because what happened to YouTube will happen to them. YouTube used to be like, that's where the truth is at. That's where like all this truther shit is at. Well, now it's not like that no more. And the 12-step program doesn't want that to happen to them. And they know that this is how it happens. Look at you and see, they knew this. The 12 steps have been around long before YouTube. And the 12 steps figured this out before, fucking like 50 years or 70 years before YouTube ever came into existence. Then YouTube comes along and wants to do this. Oh, I've got these great ideas. We can do ads. We can have an adpocalypse and start monetizing stuff and monetize everything. And it's going to be a big monetized thing, and then everything. And then that's what aborted YouTube. See, the people that put the steps together, they already knew all this. They went through all these growing pains. They wanted to do that. They're like, oh yeah, we can like monetize the steps and monetize the truth. And then it becomes, we're just monetizing the truth. That is exactly what YouTube did. Monetize the truth. That's how YouTube aborted itself. And it's never been recovered. BitChute and all these things, they're facades of like that, oh, we're building it back. No, it's not. It ain't coming back. They fucked that shit into the ground, and it's over. And that's what the steps don't want to do that. and all this monetization and promotion, and I can promote and monetize and promote. The 12 steps don't do that at all. Most people don't know anything about AA at all. And like most people, that they have all these misconceptions. Oh, well, AA is this and AA is that. Oh, AA is Illuminati. It's Freemasonry. It's this, it's that. But they've never investigated it. Have you, like, dude, if you've never investigated the 12 steps, then you don't know anything about it. And that's what I was saying in my last video. You don't know anything about it at all. The only way to investigate the 12 steps is to do them. Because what harm is going to come from doing it? But see, that's what the steps ask of you, is to be, actually, there's a line that says, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Fearless and thorough. So when you do the steps, you do them fearlessly. You don't approach them with well, this is Freemasonry and Illuminati stuff, and it's a conspiracy against me, so I'll do them, but I'm going to approach it with this, that this is just Freemasonry and Illuminati. Well, then you're not even going to do the steps. You won't even do them. You're just kind of going through the motions, and the whole time in your head, you're already convinced that they won't, that they're bad, that it's Freemasonry. You have to let go. Just like in that scene in The Matrix where Morpheus is like, you got to let it all go, Neo. You got to let it all go. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. If you want to investigate what the steps truly are, you have to let it all go. Just like if you want to know what the Matrix is, you have to let it all go. Even the Truther movement says that. You have to relearn everything. Everything you've ever been taught, you have to, you've been lied to all this time. The steps is no different. And really the steps, dude, all that shit that's in the movie The Matrix is in the steps. I'd already done the steps of before I saw the movie. And when I saw the movie, I was like, oh my God, this is saying all the same shit as the steps. So is the movie The Matrix a conspiracy? Well, you might say, yes, it is. But yeah, there's a lot of information in the Matrix, but yeah, it is a conspiracy, but there is a lot of truth in it. You know, well, how was it, did it hurt you to watch the movie The Matrix? You know, dude, there's things that you do every day, all day, and have been your whole life that are way more harmful for you than the steps. And the steps actually help you navigate this insane world that's full of all this crazy shit that's harmful to you. The steps make it where you can more easily navigate it and thrive, rather than the beast system like grinding you into the ground. It brings you strength. It gives you strength to fucking power through it, rather than the all this conspiracy stuff just grinding you down into the dirt. The steps are a way to combat the conspiracy that is all around you, designed to grind you into the ground. That's all. There are no baleful results from doing the steps, but you have to actually do them. You can't in your mind be like, approach it from, well, I'm already convinced this is Freemasonry. I'm already convinced this is Illuminati. I'm already convinced that these steps are not good. Well, how are you going to do them? That's why I referenced the movie in The Matrix where Morpheus tells Neo, you got to let it all go. In the jumping scene, that's really what the steps is the jump. That's what it is. It's the jump, the jumping scene where they load the jumping program and then that's what Morpheus looks at Neo and he says, you got to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. And then he turns and he runs and he fucking jumps off the building and fucking way over there. And then Neo's like, what the fuck? He's like, okay, let it all go. Let it all go. And then he jumps and he falls and boom. That's what the steps, like to do the steps is to take the jump, is to do what Neo did and try to jump. Even though, and what prevented him from jumping like Morpheus is that in Neo's mind, he already knew he couldn't do it. He just like a person going to do the steps, but in their mind they already know that the steps are just another Freemasonry conspiracy and all this stuff. You got to let it all go. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. So I'm somebody who's done them. I've done them. And I can report to you that there are no baleful effects. It's not going to, it's not designed to, you know what I'm saying? It's not designed that way. There are no real baleful effects. You're harming yourself more just doing all this stuff that people do in the world. All this stuff that we all everything that's normalized that you and I do all the time, it causes more baleful results than doing the steps. So how harmful could it possibly be? And that's what I'm saying. You can't really have an opinion on the steps if you've never done them. You just can't. You can try. Go ahead. You can go on and on about it's just Freemasonry, it's just Illuminati, it's just bullshit, it's just this, it's just that, oh, it's religion, oh, it's this, it's that. But if you've never investigated it, then you have no idea what you're talking about. So contempt prior to investigation will lead a man into everlasting ignorance. And that is the truth. Contempt prior to investigation will lead a man into everlasting ignorance. So like I've investigated stuff, okay, like it's the Jays, the Zion, it's the Zionists and it's the Jays and I've investigated that. Even though when I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, but I've had a lot of practice approaching things with an open mind over the years. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I really let go and tried to just, okay, what is all this thing about the Jews and stuff? And I would discuss it with these guys or these hardcore guys that are all into it. I would discuss it with them. I would look for common ground and then discuss it, this and that. But over I've investigated it for about 4 years or something. More than most people. Most people wouldn't go as far as investigation as I did, where I'm open-minded and honest and everything. But after all that investigation, I'm like, it's bullshit. It is total bullshit. It's total bullshit. But I investigated it first, and I approached it with an open mind, and I acknowledged where I acknowledged the common ground that I have with these concepts. It's the Jews concepts and stuff. Okay, here I have open ground. Here's where I see what you're saying. Here's where I'm confused. Here's where it contradicts itself. And whenever I would talk about point out the things that I'm confused about or that contradict themselves, they would just, they just start foaming at the mouth and they want to kill me. Oh, I just need to get exterminated with the rest of them, And that's how you can tell. That's how you can tell that's fake. If you have to use intimidation and stuff like that, then it's fake. So I've done a ton of investigation into that. And this, okay, so the difference is with that and the steps is the steps aren't telling you that, oh, if you don't do it, then we just need to exterminate you because you're just one of the evil people that, it's totally pragmatic. So it's just like, if a person hasn't done the steps, they just don't have an opinion on it. They really don't have an opinion, and they just really don't have any right to weigh in on it. It's like talking about, it's like if I were to go in and be weighing in on something that I know absolutely nothing about. Well, if I don't know anything about it, why am I, And, but, so what I would say though, because there's all this truther movement and all this shit, and what I would say is that if you're into the truther movement and you really serious about the truth, do the steps. And do them honestly, be fearless and honest in doing the steps. That's and that's what I'm saying about the Matrix. Like the scene when Trinity brings Neo to Morpheus for the first time, and she's about to open the door, and she stops and looks at Neo and says, "Piece of advice." What does she say? She says, a piece of advice. Be honest. Morpheus knows more than you can even imagine, or something like that. Like that's like it's all these same concepts. It's like, but I would suggest, if you really are a truth seeker and you really are into the truth and stuff, do the steps. And the steps can apply to anything. It doesn't, like, I'm not telling you to quit drinking or any of that. Like I said, the steps can apply to anything. Step 1, admitted we were powerless over whatever you want, whatever. We are powerless over so much. There is, like, okay, for example, I'm powerless that I'm getting older. I'm 50 years old. And I'm going to be 51 years old. And I'm powerless over that. I am powerless that I'm going to be 51 years old. And that if I even make it that long, I am powerless that I could die tomorrow. I am totally powerless over that. So don't let your mind is going to want to tell you that, oh, the 12 steps is bullshit. Don't admit you're powerless. You're not powerless over anything. Well, yeah, you are. You're going to die. You could die tomorrow. They could drop a nuclear bomb. I mean, there's so many things that could happen. Like, if you live in California, an earthquake could fucking kill you tomorrow. We're powerless over these, and that we're going to die. No matter, even if you don't die tomorrow, you're going to die. We're powerless over these things. And so, step 1 is admit we're powerless over blank, and that our lives have become unmanageable. I'm telling you, like, it's just like the jump. Take the jump, like in that scene in where Morpheus, the jump program. It's the jump program. And I would love to take people through the steps. Not because I'm trying to troll around to get people to quit drinking or doing drugs, because like I keep saying, the steps can apply to anything. But the other thing is, dude, I have come across genuine conspiracies, like back in the real truther, when there was still real truther shit going on. And that we're saying that drugs and alcohol is a massive conspiracy. That's why Big Pharma's got everybody taking all these pills, dude. Drugs and alcohol is a massive component of the whole conspiracy, man. I mean, the more they got people stoned on weed and buzzing on alcohol and fucking blasted on Big Pharma and believing in all this DMT, fucking new age DMT retarded shit, and ayahuasca retarded fucking new age bullshit, the more they get people doing that, the more control they have over them, man. It's fucking MK Ultra mind control shit, bro. And so I never talk about this. The only reason I'm talking about this right now is because I only have 2 subscribers on my channel. And I get, like 4 views at most on my videos. So I feel okay talking about this. But I have to keep making this disclaimer, though. I am not the poster child of the 12 steps. I am not a spokesperson of the 12 steps. I could fail tomorrow. I could fucking relapse and end up being a fucking crackhead, tweaker tomorrow. And then, so what good have I done in promoting the steps or convincing anybody to do the steps when I'm just a fucking crackhead, And no offense to crackheads, I'm just saying this is why they have all these things in place, like anonymity and all this stuff, autonomy, anonymity. Anonymity is really about keeping fucking it from being plastered on billboards and on commercials, because what happened to YouTube, the same thing is going to happen to them if they don't do the anonymity thing. It's going to be all about monetization and commercializing and, and all this shit. And then it's just going to abort itself like YouTube did. It is a literal truther movement. The 12 steps is a fucking truther movement. And it is the most badass fucking truther movement there is, dude. Do not be fooled by appearances. Like I bring up the books. You look at the books, the covers of these books, they look like the most boring, fucking, stupid, retarded books. It's like, you don't, just looking at the cover, you don't even want to read it. Well, that's the whole point. That's the lesson. Don't judge a book by its cover, man. Do not judge a book. The only way to judge a book is by reading it. Now, the steps require more than reading. It requires action and self-honesty and all this stuff. But it's the same concept. You got to let it all go. Fear, doubt, and disbelief.